Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where we will go beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Be part of down-to-earth, no BS conversations where we will explore hot topics on love and money, relationships and business, beauty, and who we get to be with all that shit in between. With our insights and your actions, let's be unstoppable together. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Well, this will be a blooper for another day. Tina and I have been chatting. We had we just recorded a really good episode with a guest speaker. And I think that it'll be something that you guys will definitely enjoy. But this one is a little bit more around things that have been happening in our lives in the last little while. We're going to talk about aha moments. Sometimes they're not actually aha, it's a great feeling. Sometimes it's aha, holy shit, it's not you, it's me. And yeah, for me, this aha moment, so to speak, for me came this week, actually last week. I've had things come up for me with people in my life, like not just one person, several people in my life, that whether I get irritated or whether I get triggered or whether I get something happens inside me. And it's like I said, it's not just one person. It could be somebody walking down the street that I don't even know, or driving by. I get that feeling. And I've really tried to work on that, but I didn't, what you don't know, you don't know. So I didn't know where that was coming from. And as much as I wanted to believe it was over there with them, guess what? It's not. It's right here with me.
Doesn't it look like it's really them? They are not showing up. They're annoying. They're frustrating. They're this, they're that. And we look for evidence that it is legit them. Our husbands, our wives, our friends. And I know when somebody said to me, put the mirror back on you. It's not them, it's you. So do you want to share the story about what happened, your aha? And then I would love to share, like you said, it's not aha, like, oh, look it. Like this week, literally, I wanted to barf at what I saw about myself that I did not want to see. And somebody called it forward. It was not fun. It was literally, it felt like the death of me.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay, guys, these aha moments, sometimes when you're willing to see them, they are life transforming, but they are not fun to experience. So what happened with you this week, Vicki? What's your story?
Not fun at all. So, we had a conversation, you and I and another girlfriend of ours at the gym. I think it was not a week ago Sunday, and we were there and we were talking, and I had mentioned something.
Before you get into the story, Vicki, I got to share a little thing. We have this Sunday routine where we go to the gym, we exercise, we go in the steam room, we go in the hot tub, then we walk the pool talking about life, and we have these empowering conversations. So here we are, walking in the pool, having a powwow, solving life's problems in the pool.
Absolutely we do. We solve everybody's problems. And, I had mentioned to you a few weeks prior, something had happened and I had said, this is my old version coming up. This is where I am. I need to do something about this. I get to do something about this. And then, weeks go by, life happens and you're busy and this is happening and that's happening. And then all of a sudden you said to me, Vicki, can I share something with you? And I said, absolutely. And I know that sounds funny to some, can I share something with you? I know what that means. When Tina says, can I share something with you? I know what that means. You called me forward. You said, Vicki, you've already talked about this and you already know that, and you gave it to me on a silver platter. I needed that because once it's spoken from you or anyone in our lives that we get to share these experiences with, I couldn't hide from it anymore. I can hide from it when it's just me that knows it, so to speak, because not that it's just me that knows it, because other people realize it. And we've had this conversation about feedback before. And it wasn't just feedback. It was bringing it into my awareness. Now I can't see what I didn't see before. And now it's there and I have to do something about it because I don't like me when I'm this person. I don't enjoy being around me. So I can't just imagine how my people in my life feel about being around me. So we went out on a wine. We do this every year. It's a mac and cheese wine tour that we do. We get a bus. There's like 20 ladies. We have a great time. And, it was fun. We had a great time. And then one of my friends said something to me and I snapped at her, and I was short. I was sharp. And I never used that word before until you had shared that with me, that I was sharp. And I realized, like, holy shit, I'm sharp. And sharp isn't a good thing. I'm just saying.
You're not sharp. You can be sharp, but you're not sharp.
That's right. I can be sharp. And I was rude. I know I was actually a real bitch to her. And I realized it, but then I was like, whatever, right? Then the next morning I was like, oh my God, I didn't apologize. I didn't call it forward for myself. I kind of allowed it to go. We got busy with other things. And then I think it was the day after I texted her and I said, I just want to apologize to you for acting the way I acted and being the way I was with you. It is not you. It is me. I would like to project it onto you because, of course, I don't want to deal with my shit. I'd rather think it's you. It isn't you. Because she had said to me, I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. I must be doing something wrong. I'm really trying, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And that's where it came back to me going, Vicky, we can't make anybody feel a certain way, but I was projecting my shit onto her, which made her feel like she wasn't good enough. Maybe it reaffirmed things that she was feeling about herself already. And I just kind of gave her that. That's not cool. But I apologized. And now it's in my awareness, and I get to practice that each and every single time that it comes up for me. Whether I'm in traffic and someone cuts me off, okay, am I going to give them their power by getting upset? And right? No, I'm going to practice that pause and say, you know what? Maybe it was meant to be. Obviously, it was meant to be that I didn't get there 5 seconds before I was supposed to. Everything happens in life for a reason, and I believe that. But I sometimes believe that when it's convenient for me to believe that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
absolutely.
And it's not the truth that's the way things are, but that's what I believe. And I truly do believe that everything that happens in my life is because it's happening for me, not to me. So this came to me, and I do it with my husband all the time. I'm short. If I'm busy, I'm like, yeah, you can't bother me. And that can come up with a lot of other things, but I can't make him wrong for the things that he doesn't know that I'm upset about if I don't communicate those things.
Yeah, it's like, why is this in my movie? Why is this person, why did I experience this? And it's always to help us see something reactive in us that we get to let go of. And when those people and situations come, they're opportunities for us to let go of them, to see them. And that experience was such a blessing because now, there's this seed planted and you're like, okay, I'm going to be aware. And people make themselves wrong for making mistakes. It's like, but we need to make mistakes so we can be responsible, so we can learn and grow and let it go.
And you know what? I made myself wrong. I did. I made myself wrong until I apologized and I called myself forward on that. I did make myself wrong. Because
Isn't that where you feel so icky about your way of being that you get to clean it up? And this is the thing with consciousness. When you are feeling bad about the way that you're being, it's almost this compulsion to clean it up because that negativity is going to ripple in your husband, in your kids, in your business, everywhere. It's just going to permeate until you are responsible for it. So good job doing the work.
Responsible. Thank you. And I get to be responsible. And I think that's a huge thing for me to be responsible in that sense, because, we try to just sweep things under the carpet. Oh, it's not a big deal. But if it's causing this anguish in my life, imagine how that other person is feeling when I've treated them that way. And I don't want to treat people that way.
And a lot of what we do or what we think and what we believe is really unconscious ego protection. I had So every Tuesday, I have a coaching session. Yes, I'm a coach who coaches coaches, but I also have a coach. And I've been really deep diving into the teachings of Kabbalah. We talk about this a lot. And one of the things that I discovered is this concept called tikkuns. And tikkuns are like the corrections you get to make in this lifetime. So the things that we get to let go of. So what Vicky, you were talking about of that reactive behavior is sharp. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be put these situations in order for you to see it so you can transform it. So I hopped on the call and I said, okay, I distinguished one of my tikkuns is that I feel insecure and I feel that I can't do things on my own. So I look to other people to kind of, fix things for me. And my coach did not hold back any punches. And he basically laid into me. He's like, so you're a user. You use people as a means to an ends. You manipulate people to get what you want because you don't believe that you can do it on your own. And I'm like, my first reaction, literally, my whole body went backwards. I'm like, well, I don't quite see it that way. He's like, of course you don't, because your ego doesn't want you to see it like that. But let's just put this in perspective. Tell me about your relationship with your husband. Did you know he was the one? I was like, well, I thought he was a really great guy and he had a really great family and he could be, and then I paused. I'm like, a good provider. Oh, so he could give you something. I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, and what's the impact of that ripple that you left behind? You had a family with this man. You had kids with this man. And the whole time you're like, yeah, he's kind of good enough. I don't really have everything that I want and need, but he can give me this. And I mean, I was shrinking in this conversation because I was just like, holy cow, like keep punching me in the face. And I, at that point, wanted to rip his eyeballs out, because he showed me something that I didn't want to see. He's like, okay, let's go on. Let's see about the other relationships. What could you get from them? What did you feel he was harsh. You talk about sharp. It felt like he was literally I was a punching bag. He was like, he was punching my ego so much that I literally wanted to vomit. And I was just like, okay. He's like, what about your business partner? And I said, well, he's not doing what I expect him to do. Really? Does anybody do what you expect them to do, Tina? Let's be real. I'm like, well, not really. You know why people can't do what you expect them to do? Because you don't even know what you need to do. And I was like, oh, okay, Greg, why don't you just slap me a little harder? So he's like, okay, so why did you partner with your business partner? He's like, be real. And I said, well, I'm like, oh God, do I lie right now or do I tell them the truth? And I said, well, I was kind of experiencing like I needed a tech person in my business to get to the next level. And I thought, well, even though he's doing something, I'll burn that thing down and then he can help me with my tech and get me where I need to be. He's like, you see the pattern? You see how you use people as a means to an end, your agenda? He's like, now what? Now what? He's not showing up the way you want him to. You going to leave him? I was like, okay. I had to pause. What a pleasure. And what a pleasure is just saying, I know that you brought Greg to me to show me something about myself. I feel like my guts are being ripped out right now. I feel like I want to vomit. I feel humiliated. I feel embarrassed. I feel shame. I was like, oh my God, I am the asshole in the room, in all my relationships, and I started seeing it almost like this invisible string of the destruction I leave behind by this. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so what I'm hearing, so I took the coaching, I looked within, I said, what I'm hearing is I use people as a means to an end. And it's coming from a place of lack and scarcity because I don't believe that I'm capable of doing it on my own. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's icky and that's really awful. He's like, okay, that's just your feeling.
Yeah.
That's not who you are, but what can you do with what you don't know that you don't know or you're not willing to see? Nothing. He's like, there is no right or wrong. See, because once you see it Now you have the power to transform it. So when things come and you're like, okay, am I doing this because I see that there's a partnership here? Or am I doing it because I'm trying to get something? And I said, so what does this mean? Okay, so now I see it. I use my business partner as a means to an end. He's not showing up the way that I need him to show up. Now what do I do? Jump ship and start over again? This pattern? He's like, or there's another alternative. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. He's like, you reinvent a new possibility that you want to live in, which is the possibility of partnership. And then who would you need to be in order to recreate what you want inside of your commitment? And I said, so I guess the possibility would be to play team. Great. And inside of that possibility, who do you need to be? I said, well, I need to be in communication. I need to realize that I am powerful and what I say matters. Great. And by being communicative, owning your power, and realizing that you don't need somebody to get you to where you need to be, you have the power to create that and be cause, not the effect. You can be cause. When you choose to be cause in what you want instead of at the effect of what you don't want, what could open up then? I said, well, the possibilities are limitless. He's like, great. What's the first thing that you need to do now? I said, I need to clean that up. Like, I need to have a conversation and say, I need to own my shit. I need to own, that I am being X, Y, and Z, which is AKA the asshole in the room. And so the first thing I did was I had a conversation with my business partner, and I said, I had this realization. I said, and it's painful and shameful, and I'm actually embarrassed, but I need to express. And I shared everything. I said, X, Y, and basically what our conversation was. And he just stopped and he said, thank you. He's like, in what you're sharing, I can see a lot of how I've been operating. And that's not what I'm committed to, but I think maybe I might have attracted you for the same reason, because I feel like I can't do it without you. And I said, okay, so what can we create from this knowing now? Who do we get to be for each other? And it was really probably one of the most profound experiences, because I talk about it like transformation feels painful, but I don't remember a time where it felt that painful to see myself. Because if I'm making mistakes, I beat myself up. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? And this was like, whoa, this is profound. This has been my whole entire life. And I just saw my whole entire life of who I've been being, not realizing. And it was soul wrenching, but almost liberating too, to just be like, there's nothing wrong. It's just see it and move on, recreate and let it go. And trust that everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to. You didn't learn the lesson the first time because you didn't see it. Your ego wouldn't let you see that this is who you have been for people, and this is how you use people. And then I started looking at, where else do I do that in business? Where else? And I'm like, Vicky, I can't even. And for those of you that are listening, unless you really experience, like, this was like, I wanted to cry. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. I wanted to vomit. Like, literally, it felt like I was a punching bag on the receiving end. But this is the one thing that I also got. And then I'll switch it over to you. When you avoid the pain, you delay the pleasure. And by not experiencing that pain and seeing it, I'm delaying the pleasure of what is possible in my life, seeing this. And even though, I could have beat myself up. I could have had to go to see a therapist to be like, oh my God,
For sure.
like in my marriage, I did this, I did that, like keep looking in the past. But the thing is, we don't have the past anymore. And we don't have the future. We only have the present. And you can alleviate pain in the moment that you just see it and are willing to let it go. It's that easy. See it and let it go.
Yeah. And it is painful. It is to see when we look within and we're shown this. It's like you're watching a movie and it's like oh my God, that's my life. Now I have to be responsible for it. Now I have to be responsible for it. So when the cleaning it up part, you get to clean up. You do. You get to clean up. I mean, I'm not saying you have to clean up. You have to call everybody for the last 20 years and say, I'm sorry. That's not what I mean by cleaning it up. But we get to clean it up with ourselves too, and we can't make ourselves wrong because these things happen so that there is something on the other side. Right. And I feel like now that I'm aware of this, because it's not just one person I'm this way with, right? This shows up in several areas of my life, and being aware of it and actually making a choice to transform this, my life's going to look differently. My world isn't going to be so, because I don't like that feeling that I have when I'm feeling that way with people or situations or anything. So I can allow that to go. And I can step into my power and be more me, the true authentic self that I get to become when these things happen. And there's nothing wrong. Like, yeah, I hurt someone in how I spoke. Yes, I did. And that I can't change, but I can apologize and own it. Now I get to look at within myself and say, okay, now how do I shift this way of being to somebody that isn't that person, because you don't want to be that person. And, we can dig up the past and go through all that and be in therapy and do all that. I don't believe that I need that. I believe that I see it. And I see it bright, and it's like a light. It is. It's like this flashing light going, Vicky, do you see it now? And I feel so much more like I've talked about this in my program this week. I called it forward on myself again, and I've put it out there. I said thank you to another friend of mine for actually standing by me and being there for me through this, because she's obviously seen it as well. And the same with you. I've thanked you for allowing me to be who I am and not making me wrong for it, but just loving me through it and helping me see it and calling it forward and being that person for me that you get to call it forward. And if we could have that in life, sharing that experience with others, people that we love in our lives, what could happen and what could open up? The possibilities are endless. They're limitless.
Well, yeah. And this is the thing. And I hope people are seeing this. The things that we have buried deep inside of us, the things that our ego does not want us to see, we can't coach ourselves. We can't always discover these things about ourselves, because this is the reality that we've created, and our reality is always there to make us win. The game that we're playing, it's not designed, transformation is letting go of the ego, and that's not an easy thing to do. I can't see my stuff without somebody calling it forward. There are certain things that I can coach myself around, and that's after 5,000 hours of personal development and training and having coaching like Greg gives me every week. Most people couldn't even handle that level of coaching, because they would just project like, he's just an a-hole and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and I don't want to see it. But I'm at the place where I'm a demand for breakthroughs. I'm a demand for coaching. I'm a demand for like, help me see it so I can get it out of the way. That is what I'm committed to. So Greg knows that I'm going to get triggered, and it's inevitable. And I'll tell him, I don't want to talk to you this week. I'm not, AKA, I'm not coachable right now. I'm not willing to see. And he knows that. And, it's when we can see that there's a whole world of these things that we don't know. But when we can be open, the other side of that is so much freedom. It really is being unstoppable. I know we're working the muscle, the mental fitness. Coach John Z was talking about positive intelligence and mental fitness. Every time we have these experiences that are painful, we're actually expanding. We're expanding ourselves to receive more of what's meant for us. But a lot of times we just can't do it on our own, as much as if we're in the darkness, if we're feeling like there's patterns or behaviors that it's like, oh, I don't feel like cleaning my house. And every day I'm like, I don't feel like this. I don't feel like that. And oh, it's them and it's this person. And why are everybody around me such assholes? It's like, okay, it's not them. They're put on your path to help you see something about yourself. And if you can take that on,
Yes.
be willing to just shift, and we're not preaching here. It's just we see that it's not comfortable and it's not for everybody. And some people aren't ready to be responsible and see the other side of this. And that's okay. It's not our job to like make you wrong or feel bad, or we just want, if you're open, we want to share these things with you so that you might want to be a little bit of a detective yourself, to start uncovering some of the things that are hiding behind your view. And if you want to take it a little deeper, reach out to us. We always have our calendar links in the show notes. Have a conversation, because there's a lot of power in just finding the, I don't know if it's a message, but finding the thing that wants to be transformed. There's a lot of real benefits to doing that, not just in one area of life, but it ripples in all areas of life.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, I don't know. I hope you guys got value from this episode. I know it was a little more raw and vulnerable, because we're actually like putting ourselves out there, exposing our insecurities and our assholeness.
Yeah.
Don't hate the messenger, you guys. Keep following.
Do you know what? I think that if vulnerability comes from, if we can't be vulnerable, how can we help anyone? Like, we don't live in this a beautiful life. Like, we don't have it all figured out. We're learning too. But, when we can actually put it out there for you, maybe you can see something in it for yourself. And that's all we can ask for. That's all we can do. We just get to be real with who we are, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all the bullshit in between.
What's the difference between an authentic person and an inauthentic person? An authentic person is aware, or willing to be aware, of where they're being inauthentic. And thank you for listening to my powerful inauthenticity that I didn't really know was there. I could feel it. And, even I'm just thinking, I'm just present to this right now. Years ago, I would have never had the courage to share that. I would not have wanted people to see me in that light. Like, I'm a user and an abuser and a manipulator, according to Craig. And it's not that that's who I am. That's
No.
who I was being,
Yes.
as a protective mechanism, because at the end of the day, a lot of my self-worth is based on my productivity and getting and being a force to be reckoned with. And I'm starting to see that in authenticity. I am nothing. I am no thing. And the more I can distinguish that and let it go, then I know that, not to get too philosophical, but like we get closer to God, closer to light, closer to the source, and shedding that ego and seeing it's really not about us. It's not. It's way, way bigger than us. And it's, the creator's way of saying, I have way more for you, but you're going to have to like really rip yourself apart in order to get it. I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you on this one. I'm going to surrender, and I'm going to be a punching bag, and it's all good. I trust you. I trust you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So fun. Not so fun.
Yeah. So fun, not so fun. Well, on that note, thank you all for listening. We will have extras in our show notes, and please tune in, like, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Well, friends, that is the end of our episode today. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And please share us with your friends and tag us on your socials at The Art of Being Unstoppable. So for today, have yourself a beautiful day, and let's be unstoppable together. See you next time.